Hi, Trinity.
Hi guys, I'm Trinity. Thank you for having me on your channel. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
My name is Ida. I'm a full stack developer working at a construction company building engineering calculation softwares. And
She's smart. And I'm Trinity Wiles. I'm co-founder of a technology startup called Wear and Share. I'm the non-technical co-founder, and we're developing interactive mirror technology and marketing platforms to help retailers capture what people are trying on and market back to them and improve the overall shopping experience in store and online.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that industry. So today we're going to be talking about agile development, and we're going to be talking about it from two different perspectives.
Yeah, which I think is super unique and
Yeah,
really beneficial, especially for your audience
yeah,
that's probably a lot of programmers, and then mine being a lot of non technical folks like
yeah.
me.
And how it can benefit both sides, really.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to go ahead and tell us what is agile?
Yeah, so agile is essentially just some sort of processes you put in place to do leaner development. And what I mean by that is like you're doing less documentation, less non productive work, less meetings, and more actual coding and results. So agile is just a fancy way of saying putting processes in place to make the team more collaborative and working together for productive work. So there's a lot of different types of agile. There's Kanban, which actually started in manufacturing, and then there's Scrum, which is the one that my team uses and what I'm more familiar with. But they're both similar, and there's really not a wrong agile type of process to use for your development, but it's really whatever fits best with your team and how you want to improve your processes, that kind of thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so um, I'll jump into first talking a little bit about the Agile framework. How does
Okay.
that sound? Because I
Yeah.
know you've used some Agile before, but I'll talk about it from a higher level and like non-technical perspective.
Okay.
Um, so essentially, the first thing you want to know is that it's very iterative, right? So instead of the traditional software development way where you're going to like lay out an entire plan and stick to the plan, you're doing shorter development cycles that are more iterative, and it makes it more flexible for
Mhm.
your programmers that are programming, and the client or product owner, team leader that wants different features, or functionality. So it's shorter, more iterative cycles. So typically you do a development cycle in a 2 week sprint.
Mhm.
So you do your sprint planning session, and you're going to plan what's going to get done during the sprint and essentially delegate it to the team. Now, your team meets every single day, but only 15-minute meetings. Okay, so like no long, hour-long meetings every day, no BS meetings, as I like to say, no fluff. It's just a 15-minute meeting every single day once those goals are set, and the team essentially talks about what they've gotten done since the last daily stand-up meeting, what they're working on for tomorrow in the next meeting, and what blockers or issues do they have.
Mhm.
And it's very collaborative, and everyone just goes through and talks about what they're working on exactly in that format. And it creates a lot of transparency for the team in general. And, if you have a client or, the person that's kind of managing that project. Um, so typically it's like 5 to 9 people on a team, and you break up the task, like I said, and then at the end of that sprint, you evaluate, okay, like what went right, what went wrong, what can we do better. So it's very like iterative and that kind of thing, and then you do your planning for your next sprint right before that, and it just keeps going. And it's a shorter development cycle. The whole goal is let's get something to the end user who will be using the platform or product as quickly as possible to get that feedback loop,
Mhm.
and feeding that back into the sprint and the backlog. So that's a little bit about the framework, and that's specifically Scrum. Like I said, there's other types that you can use. But I really want your thought process as a programmer. Why do you see this being, very beneficial for teams or clients or as you as a developer?
Well, this is really amazing. So you're more focused on agile development. As a developer, you get placed on the team, especially if you do freelance work. You get assigned on multiple teams, and not all of them are using agile. And
Mm-hmm.
you can you kind of get a sense for exactly how it's improving the work, both for you as a developer. Reducing the amount of, like you said, reducing the amount of meetings that you have to do. You do more coding and um,
You really get more value,
yeah,
I think, and it's more productivity and less, would you say, rework?
yeah, and just having that set plan and having 2 week goals that you're working towards and having shorter pieces on your plate, I guess, or smaller pieces on your
Mm-hmm.
plate really helps. I'm kind of person that whatever task I'm given, I always break it into smaller tasks,
Mm-hmm.
and
So
then
you're doing
yeah,
agile within your own
yeah,
development.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if my team isn't doing it.
Yeah.
And especially if you're on a freelance job and you don't really have a team, you're the only programmer working on it, it really helps the communication between you and the client,
Mm-hmm.
telling them what this is going to be that you're going to have in 2 weeks that you're going to give them,
Mm-hmm.
versus having a milestone that's 3 months out, and then it'll be just like you and like a client that doesn't know, are you working, are you having anything
Mm-hmm.
done, do I check in with you every single day and at
Yeah.
midnight? What do I do? So
Yeah, you
this
don't
really
want to call in the middle of the night from your client. Like that's
yeah,
the last thing you want. This
yeah,
can hopefully help
yeah.
avoid some of that if you have these processes in place.
Yeah, so as a developer, this is how you really feel the benefit of having agile development, because it makes it easy on you, it makes it easy on the client, gives builds up the trust between you and the client,
Mm-hmm.
because the client sees the work that's getting done in shorter period of time.
And that's a
So
true
yeah,
value add as
yeah,
a freelancer because a lot of times you don't really know what you're getting with a freelancer and it's scary hiring technical talent, I will say.
yeah,
But that like going back to that transparency and
yeah,
clarity thing, I think is so important.
yeah.
So important.
I think the most important thing in a freelance type of work is the clients really trusting you, because
Mhm.
with freelance you don't go through the full technical the interview process of like
Mhm.
whiteboarding everything and
Mhm.
just like all the crazy like scary stuff of like 5 different interviews, so you don't go through that, so the client really needs to just trust you.
Right.
So that's when agile development really helps them, and I think in a long term it'll make you a more reliable uh, developer that the client wants to come back to, or
Mhm. And
it's
even
kind of
internally, say
yeah,
you're on a development team and your organization isn't doing agile, you can come to them and say,
yeah,
"Listen, look how much more efficient we can be,
yeah,
which in longer term is profitable, versus doing it the old way or traditional or waterfall, whatever you want to call it."
yeah, exactly. Just within your own team, having a set time for a meeting, because meetings can go on for like hours and
Yeah, that's
hours,
what I
and
love about Scrum. It's like there's a cutoff. Like
yeah,
each meeting has a specific meeting time that you follow, and it doesn't go over.
yeah. So I think that really helps the team like increase the coding time,
Mhm.
and so that's how, as a developer side of the point of view, you really get peace of mind and
Yeah.
become more productive being on a agile development team.
Well, I love that. I'm a huge fan of Agile, obviously. Um, so where should people start if they want to learn about Agile as a programmer?
So I myself, when I heard about it, I started. The first place I went to was podcasts.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of
I love a good
podcasts.
podcast.
Yeah. There is one that I found. It's like 9 different series, just going through everything agile. I was just listening to it while working. It's amazing. And then there are a lot of online sources. I think
Mhm.
you know a lot of them as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of blog posts and stuff, and um, as a non-technical person or a programmer that wants to learn, there's a course you can do. So there's a certification, and you actually have to pay and go get a certification to become what they call as a Scrum Master. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the non-technical person that would be, making sure these processes are in place. So that's one thing, but I'm not a Scrum Master. I implement Scrum, but you don't have to have the certification. So I went online and found this free course, and I'll link it in your comment section
Okay.
so people can like go and check it out and take it if they want it.
Okay.
It's free, and I think it would be really good for even programmers to take, and people like me who are just trying to implement it within our
Mhm.
own team.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go take the time to go get certified because there's always other things that I'm doing, and that's not my specialized focus. But um, yeah, so I mean, there's different podcasts, blogs. There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
So Google is always a beautiful place to start for anything. But
Yeah, that's right.
awesome. So, do you have any last thoughts on Agile that we need to leave these folks with?
Um, well, mm, I don't I can quite think of anything now. I love to learn so much more about it. I guess if we can just introduce a couple of frameworks that are used for Agile,
Oh,
that
that's a
would
really
be,
good point.
yeah,
So, like the software that you
yeah,
use to put the processes in place.
yeah.
Um, One that I would recommend that's really good is Jira. So it's like specifically made for Agile and works really well with Scrum. You can put all your different tasks in there. You can make your product roadmap, and it's digital. So when a task is done, it gets moved from in progress to in review and so on, and you can kind of see how that aligns with the due date and where people are at. And you can link some other external documentation to it. They do a sprint burn down chart, which gets kind of technical, but definitely check out Jira. And what was the one that you used before?
Um, Trello.
Trello.
Yeah,
Yes. Trello is another good one.
yeah.
Did you have a good experience with that? Did you like it?
Yeah, Trello was when I worked with Trello, I was on a team that was working on a really complicated website. There were a lot of developers working on it, and it was very just organized, having everything on
Mhm.
Trello.
And you can
You,
see what everyone else is working on
yeah.
too. Yeah, I know Jira is like that, so that's what I like.
So like for example, we had testing. So there was like a section for tickets that were under testing. So developers that were responsible for testing as well, they would know where to pick
Mhm.
from. You always know what's been there for like a month.
Yeah.
Not a month. Nothing's been there for a
Hopefully not
month.
a month. Hopefully 2
But
weeks. No.
yeah, so you always see what's there, what's not there. So it makes it really easy for the managers to
Mhm.
manage their tasks,
Mhm.
as well as for the developers to know what to work on, what's coming next. So yeah, all of that. I think it was very organized and just it was a great experience.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love it. Well, I think that's all I have to say about Agile. Unless you have anything else, use it. It's amazing. It
Yeah.
will change your projects and how you work and collaborate as teams together. And we'll link some of those resources below to get started so you guys can start learning.
Yeah.
Sweet!
Awesome. Thank
Yay!
you.